This is Lisa from MobileTechReview, and it's Smackdown time between two convertible slash laptop substitutes slash, yeah, it really is a laptop kind of products. This is the Microsoft Surface Pro 6 for 2018. This is the HP Spectre Folio 13, not to be confused with the old Folio 13, which was a laptop. This is that trendy new thing with a leather casing. We have a review of this. We have a review of this. We're going to smack them now. Short, sweet, and to the point this video is going to be. Well, as much as I ever do anything that's short, sweet, and to the point. But first off, both of these are available for 2018. They are among the, well, Microsoft only makes flagship products in their line, but for HP, the Spectre line is in their flagship line of products. It's premium. The neat thing about the Spectre line in general over the years is the fact that HP is currently the biggest PC manufacturer. So they have a scale of manufacturing that can give you pretty elegant stuff without costing twice as much as the competition. You know what I mean? I mean, if Apple made that leather HP Spectre Folio model, God knows it would cost $3,000, right? But in this case, the prices are relatively similar. So, starting point, they seem similar. Aha. But with the Microsoft Surface Pro 6, as with all the Surface Pro devices for some time now, the keyboard is extra, so is the pen. With the HP, the pen and the keyboard are included. In fact, the keyboard is permanently attached to the Spectre Folio 13. You cannot rip it off like you can with the Microsoft Surface Pro 6. Next important thing is horsepower. Now, the HP Spectre Folio 13 is no slouch. And again, watch the full review of that and give it a thumbs up if you liked it, by the way, as well as for this review. It's not underpowered. It's best Intel Y series CPU that we've seen. It's the best way to put it. So I never liked Intel Core M and Y series CPUs. They're 5 watts, and the performance was not really great, without a lot of cost savings, without a lot of battery gains. This time around, Intel, well, with the 8th generation, they have finally gotten it right. And the Core Y performs like in Intel 7th generation 15-watt Ultrabook, which is to say quite good. It benchmarks just as well. It performs just as well. But good as that is, and impressive and good for battery life, which we'll talk about in a minute, the Surface Pro 6 has quad-core CPUs, so twice the number of cores. Dual core on the Spectre, 4 cores here. That doesn't mean you get twice the performance. As we've seen, the move to quad-core CPUs has given us 40%, sometimes even a 50% gain in performance. Like you can see the Geekbench scores on screen for both of these to get an idea, and the PC Mark 10 scores. But still, it's a lot faster. If you're just the everyday productivity kind of person, you stream videos, you edit your drone footage every once in a while, you're doing office-related tasks, social networking, all that sort of thing, the Intel 7th Gen CPU on last gen laptops and the current Spectre Folio 13 are more than adequate to the task. It's great even for Photoshop. In my full review, you can see me doing artwork with it in Photoshop with layers and big fat brushes and all that sort of thing. But if you're one of those people who really pushes their laptop like crazy and you really we're hoping even almost for a 15-inch mobile workstation level of performance, then you're going to want the fastest possible thing you can buy. Obviously, the Surface Pro 6 is that thing. It will handle big fat brushes even better with less lag on the screen and all that sort of thing for those of you who use those really giant, huggy brushes. But the converse of that is battery life, and much as Surface Pro 6 has improved battery life from the previous generation, it's never been a great battery life product, the Surface Pro line, like 6 hours or so of use. They've gotten it up to about 7 hours with just a little bit of power management, on your part. That's very good. But the HP Spectre Folio 13, particularly if you get it with the 1-watt Full HD panel, which we don't have, we have the 2-watt Full HD panel. A little confusing there, but HP is going to have both options. That thing really has good battery life. In my review, I said you could do 8.5 hours on it, and that is absolutely without trying it with doing some more demanding tasks than we usually use for our battery tests for light to moderate use. That includes Photoshop, drawing, and photo editing with many layers, more demanding things, a little Dreamweaver thrown in, that sort of stuff. So really, you probably could get 9 hours. HP claims something crazy like 15, with a lot of draconian power management, maybe you could get to 11 hours, I don't know. So it does last longer, that's the benefit. The next important thing is the size and ergonomics, and this is really something that sets it apart for a lot of people, particularly folks who just want something premium with a pen, perhaps even a status symbol, because I believe Surface Pros are a status symbol. The Surface Pro, as ever, is kind of a little tiny as laptops go. It has that 12.3-inch display. Is living small. The benefit is it fits in a lot of bags very easily. It's very easy to take with you. It's slim, it's light, you get the idea. The HP Spectre Folio 13 is more like a conventional, very thin Ultrabook in the 13-inch size class. So it's portable, but it's not amazingly portable like a Surface is. But the upside with the Folio is it's got that hinge design that sort of reminds me of the old Sony Vaio Duo and the Sony Vaio Flip that they made several years ago, but made better with leather because it holds the whole thing together better in a more classy way and allows more rigidity for the design. It has the exact ergonomics of a laptop when you're using it in laptop mode. So no fiddly fall down kickstand that's a little difficult on the knees. Some people really hate it. Some people get along with it. No kind of accessory type cover that sounds a little hollow when you type. Some people don't like the type covers. I like them fine, but some people don't. It's a really good keyboard on the Spectre. It's really normal laptop ergonomics with no compromise. It's also the easiest device I've seen in a long time to switch between the different modes. And you've got the usual 4 modes. You've got laptop mode, you've got tablet mode, you've got presentation mode, and you've got tent mode. And it's all very stable. It's really well done. So no picking it up, flipping it around, almost dropping it, that sort of thing. Certainly for those of you who have something like a Samsung Galaxy Book 12, which is a charming device in a different way with its origami keyboard though, that thing was just something that could drive you crazy. It was not stable, it was very fiddly, all that sort of thing. This is easy. The only drawback is you can't just detach the tablet. It is permanently joined to its keyboard and to the hinge that runs along the back of it. So if you really want to detach it and have a lighter weight tablet, you cannot do that. Now let's talk about displays. HP has 2 options. I have not seen the 4K display option on it. I'm sure it's quite nice, as with the HP Spectre X360 family. We have the full HD display. Again, there's supposed to be 2 options from HP. I haven't seen the 1-watt display yet. We have the 300 nit nominally full HD display. There's also a 1-watt display that's 400 nits. Boy, that's pretty amazing tech. I can't wait to see that one. So you've got a couple of different display options. The full HD is the one that's available now, and it's a quite nice display. And the color gamut and the contrast on it pretty well parallel what you get on the Surface Pro. But the Surface Pro is a higher resolution display. So Surface Pro kind of wins unless you're looking at HP's 4K display in terms of resolution. The other stuff's the same. When it comes to the pen, they're both using n-trig digitizer technology with support for tilt, though I find HP's support for tilt kind of hit and miss compared to Surface Pro, where with Surface Pro, at least some apps support tilt, not Photoshop still, which is probably the most important one for a lot of people. When it comes to these 2 digitizers, same pressure levels, 4,096 levels of pressure. I find that HP has better palm rejection, but more line jitter. It's a little harder, especially if you're going slow, to get a very straight line. With the Surface Pro 6, the palm rejection isn't as good, but the lines come out straighter and a little bit smoother. With either of these, if you're using them for art, I would get the app called Lazy Nezumi that actually helps with the line straightening, because none of them are as good as, say, an iPad Pro, hey, sorry, iPad haters, it's true, or a Wacom EMR, like in a Cintiq Pro, a Mobile Studio Pro, or in some of the Samsung Galaxy Windows products that are out there, and the Galaxy Notebook 9 family. When it comes to heat and noise, the Surface Pro 6 i5 is fanless. The HP Spectre Folio 13, the whole line, is fanless because it's a Core Y product. Neither of these gets hot to the touch. Neither of these obviously can get loud if you're getting the fanless model. We have the Core i7 Surface Pro 6, which does have a fan. It still doesn't get loud. Some of you might worry about the leather on the Folio stifling it in terms of heat. I haven't seen that happen at all. Probably because it's a 5-watt CPU. Heat has not been a problem. In fact, to the touch, it's a little bit cooler than Surface Pro 6, but they're both excellent in terms of thermals. In terms of actual performance and use following that, I know I said a lot about that, but just to say that in normal use, if you're using Chrome with 10 tabs open, neither of these is going to feel particularly faster than the other, because that's pretty easy work for either of these. So how about durability? Well, you've got 2 kind of designer fabrics going on here that are sometimes used in car seats. The Alcantara keyboard covers, they're pretty decent. I don't have oily or sweaty palms, so they hold up pretty well for me, but people typically do have them get stained and icky. It's better to keep them clean often and not wait until it's kind of gotten really disgusting. Then it's harder to clean Alcantara. Alcantara on automotive seats tends to get dirty and be hard to clean, but you can rip the cover off a Surface Pro 6 and buy a new one, which is going to cost you $130 to $160. But with the HP Spectre Folio 13, HP says they can remove and replace the leather cover on this. By the way, it's called Cognac, this brown color, and it will be available in burgundy too. Now, this is not something that I want to do to our review unit. Let me tell you, it looks like there's some kind of grommets holding it on, but I believe them that it can be ripped off should you absolutely ruin it. But the thing about chrome tan leather, and again, if you're looking at cars, you know this already, it tends to hold up pretty well. So I think it'll be okay, but it's still dubious, obviously, compared to a full metal product. Speaking of full metal products, let's just mention products with yoga hinges, like Lenovo's own Yoga C930 that we recently reviewed. That's a 14-inch, 360-degree hinge Ultrabook. Obviously, you don't have any delicate materials going on there. The thing is made of aluminum alloy, right? So the positive with that one is, well, obviously the durability. It's also easier to service one of those because you can unscrew the bottom cover and get to the internals if you want. Both of these are what I would consider to be sealed devices. There's no easy way to get into them. So that's the big benefit with a more conventional 360-degree hinge. Even though it's a bit more of a burden, you have to pick it up, you have to spin it around, all that sort of thing, you know, just to change the different modes on it versus the really easy folio operation and the more compact design of the Surface Pro 6. All right, last point is ports. This is kind of comical in a way, right? It's too extreme. So Surface Pro 6, as we all know, still doesn't have a USB-C port, let alone a Thunderbolt 3 port. There are a lot of power users out there who lament that. I myself use Samsung T5 SSDs that are USB-C, and they're faster over USB-C. I would like to have that. I use Thunderbolt docks these days. There's that. There is the Microsoft Surface Pro dock, at least for those who do need a docking solution. Now, HP goes to the far end of the other spectrum. This is USB-C and Thunderbolt 3 out the wazoo. That's all you're going to get except for that headphone jack. So you have two Thunderbolt 3 full 40 gigabit per second ports on it and a USB-C port, Gen 1, as well on this. They do include a USB-C to USB-A dongle adapter in the box, so you're not just staring at it and going, how do I plug in my mousey, you know, that sort of thing. So, two extremes, it really depends on what you want. One is extremely forward-thinking, one is not as forward-thinking, but at least does have current legacy ports on board, few though they may be with the Surface. Also, there is LTE as an option with the HP. Currently, there is not with Surface Pro 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if that shows up. Honorable mention here again to the Samsung Galaxy Book 12, and now there's the Galaxy Book 2. I know some of you out there have the Galaxy Book 12. Selling point for that would obviously be the fact that it has OLED display and the best pen technology, which is Wacom EMR. Particularly important, I think, to artists out there for quality of marks and control over your pen. For note takers, probably a little bit less important there. The Galaxy Book 2, that is one of those Snapdragon ones with LTE built in, but it's Snapdragon, so you lose all that compatibility with existing Windows programs, and the performance on that is really lightweight. It's not nearly as fast as the HP Folio 13 even, let alone the Surface Pro 6. Not too thrilled, but they did switch to a kickstand design there, at least, so you don't have to have the annoying origami keyboard cover that we had with the Galaxy Book 12. So that's Microsoft Surface Pro 6 versus the HP Spectre Folio 13. And again, in the end, you can see it comes down to two major points. If you need all the performance you can possibly get, it's Surface Pro 6. If you want normal laptop ergonomics, really one of the most ergonomically designed things I've seen since the Sony Vaio Flip from years ago, normal laptop experience, no tipsy, annoying kind of kickstand thing on your lap experience, well, it's the HP Spectre Folio 13. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.